Hey folks, how's it going? Hope you're keeping safe out there. Today I'm taking a look at a Marvel Legends figure that, I think it's a pretty damn great one. I managed to pick up the Marvel Legends. Now they call it the Japanese Spider-Man, but to me he's Toei's Spider-Man. It's a figure of the live-action Spider-Man from the 1970s Japanese TV show. And boy, does this figure look really, really great. The minute this thing came up in pre-order, I had to have it. It's just so beautiful. Luckily, I managed to get it from the fine folks over at Comics and Cocktails. As always, just great service, always highly recommended. And yeah, as I said, this is a fantastic looking figure that I really, really love. It's 100% new pinless sculpting, and I think it's fantastic. Now you know how I do things. Backstory on the character in question. This is a figure of the 1970s live-action Spider-Man, the Tokusatsu series, basically Japanese live-action heroes in costumes with giant robots and machines. Now, I could go into like a whole lot of depth into the production and everything, but honestly, I really recommend watching the documentary on the Disney Plus channel. The 616 documentary Japanese Spider-Man goes into a lot of great detail, and it's actually a really great and emotional watch. But to kind of truncate the origins of him, back in the 1970s, Marvel Comics and Toei came to an agreement where they each wanted a few of each other's properties just to do with whatever they wanted. So they swapped them over, and they had an agreement that, do whatever you like. As long as it stays in the country, as long as it stays in Japan or stays in America, we don't really care. And Marvel took a lot of Toei's super robot characters and used them to create the comic book series Shogun Warriors, which I actually read and had a few issues of as a kid. Actually really liked it. It's a really good book. If you can find a few issues, I recommend picking them up. But Toei took some of the Marvel properties and, they turned Captain America into Battle Fever J. Yeah, that's a weird show. Like a Power Ranger, Super Sentai is like the precursor to Power Rangers, or what Power Rangers was made from, shall I say. Very weird. Yeah, but they did take Spider-Man and turn it into one of my favourite live-action tokusatsu shows. They took the premise, made it very, very Japanese, very, very Kamen Rider, and I absolutely love it. It's as cheesy as all hell. Quite famously, when they showed Marvel the first episode, everyone in the room was like, what the hell is this? Except for Stan Lee, who apparently loved it and gave it the go-ahead. So we have Stan the Man to thank for this just fantastic treasure trove of campy 70s Showa era just goodness. Now to basically condense the plot, you have the main character Takuya Yamashiro. Yes, remembered it. A motorbike riding stunt performer / racer with his family, and his father is he's with a small family. There's no mother, and his father is a scientist, and it's actually portrayed. Spider-Man's actually portrayed by Shinji Todo, one of the nicest actors you will ever meet, who genuinely is in love with the roles he plays, and is still amazed by how much this character is loved nowadays. It's in that documentary, but genuinely he seems to be the nicest man I've ever seen. It's fantastic. But and his father is a scientist in the show. He discovers a alien force is coming over to invade the Earth. They discover the fact he's found that out, and they decide to kill him. In his dying breath, he imparts onto his son the need to stop the aliens and protect the Earth. And also his son is understandably rather pissed and swears vengeance on the aliens, who happen to be called the Iron Cross Army. A lot of this sort of symbolism turns up in like Showa era live action shows, especially Kamen Rider. Shocker being very, very Nazi-esque in their iconography, but anyway, that's what happens there. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite go to plan. He gets stabbed, poisoned, and thrown down a hole into a cave. Though quite luckily, it happens to be the same cave where 400 years earlier, another enemy of the Iron Cross Army, a warrior from the planet Spider, also managed to fall and get trapped as well. And quite luckily, that same fella has a cure for the poison flowing through Takuya's veins. I think because it's Spider X or Spider Venom. It basically injects into him kind of like the radioactive bite of the spider in Marvel Comics, and it gives him spider-like powers. Pretty much all the standard Spider-Man stuff, but with a bit more of a tokusatsu leaning. And yeah, it does get a little silly, like, I think it's Garan or Giran, the warrior, turns into a spider after this, but he then coaches Takuya into being Spider-Man in one of the coolest Spider-Man costumes and Spider-Man costume transformations in anything. Like, you can keep your CGI live action advanced suit from Spider-Man Homecoming or No Way Home. This is the best Spider-Man suit, the Spider Protector, and it just looks so fantastic. I really genuinely love it. And yeah, Takuya takes this and becomes Spider-Man, and also delivers one of the best introductions to a character I think you can ever have. I'm just going to play it now.
誰だお前は!地獄からの使者スパイダーマン父とガリアの復讐を俺が果たす
Yeah, the iconic emissary of hell intro. So yeah, he becomes a thorn in the side of the Iron Cross army, fighting off their mooks, who are kind of like, if you watch Power Rangers, think putties, but based on crows, so maybe a bit like the Tenka from Season 2? Or was it Season 3? Season 3. But yeah, he becomes a thorn in the Iron Cross army side, and of course, this being a tokusatsu show, you end up with monster suits running around the place, and giant monsters at that. And it's all really, really, really cool, because like, this is the show that actually introduces giant transforming robots to... up until now, like, tokusatsu had robots, or they had vehicles. They didn't really change from one form to the other, but this proved to be so popular that they decided to, from this point onwards, we're just going to give our tokusatsu shows transforming robots, because in this show, Spider-Man has a transforming robot. He has the massive ship, the Marveler, which transforms into Leopardon, a just gigantic kick-ass robot, and yeah, I think it's just camp fantastic goodness. As I say, the show was popular. It had manga spin-offs, crossovers with Kamen Rider, though it didn't really appear in the West, mainly because Marvel didn't have faith in it appealing to a Western audience. However, in 2014, I think it was, in the first Spider-Verse event, he appeared in that. They introduced him into the Marvel canon as a alternate version, or a version of Spider-Man from an alternate universe, you know, Leopardon and all, and it was just fantastic to see him on comic book pages. It looked great. I know it's still cheesy 70s, but it somehow seems timeless when drawn really well on a comic book panel. In fact, actually, like, something I just discovered while doing this editing, or the editing of this video, one of my favourite Transformers artists, Nick Roach, did a piece of art with Leopardon and my favourite version of Spider-Man, the Renew Your Vows family version, the version of the Renew Your Vows, you know, the Parker family all being Spider people, and this looks so great. I'm actually happy to find this piece of art as much as I am to get this figure. But yeah, well, speaking of figures, there's not been like a great many you've been able to get over here in the West. I know they did a was it not Shochaku Henshin? What was the name of the show? The name of the... like the high-end die-cast metal transforming robot toys from a couple of years ago. I can never remember what the name of it is, but they did a version of the Marveler. It looked great, and it fully transformed into an articulated Leopardon, full of accessories. I wish I could have got it at the time. I didn't have the money at the time, and now it's just ridiculously expensive in the aftermarket. Same thing could be said for, there was an SH Figure Arts version of Spider-Man. A little gangly, a little skinny for my liking, but still looked really cool, and at the time was the only option. Oh, and speaking of time, I guess a really bad segue, but Toei Spider-Man is also set to appear in the next Spider-Verse movie. And I think it's supposed to be this year, but I think they've actually changed it now to being early next year because of the world and delays. So yeah, he should be making his big screen Western debut in that. So yeah, that's just a quick bit of backstory into Toei Spider-Man. Just a fantastic... I was going to say anachronism, that's the wrong word. If you want to know what something really 70s, really campy, but at the same time really badass, a great representation of live action Japanese TV shows like Kamen Rider, like Super Sentai, that's Toei Spider-Man. That's probably the reason I love the show and the character so much. But anyway, back to the figure itself. As I said before, this is an entirely new sculpted figure. It's pinless, which is great. It's got little wrinkles sculpted into it, so you can really tell it's a costume and not like a skin-tight comic book. Well, it looks more like a live-action costume with wrinkles where real wrinkles would be in a costume, compared to a figure based on a comic book costume, which would be just too smooth. It's got a great physique as well, which is more realistic, not hyper-stylized or overly muscular or overly gangly. It looks like the physique of the actor himself. And the articulation is really great. It's modern Marvel Legends articulation, so you know, double jointed elbows, knees, universal hips, shoulders, ankle tilts and swivels, wrist swivels. He hasn't got the great diaphragm joint that modern Spider-Man figures have got, but it's okay. Just the basic rocker forward and backwards diaphragm joint is okay. It would have been better if it had the universal one on top, but I can live with that. As far as accessories goes, he comes with his spider bracelet on his wrist, which actually has the word Spiderman written on it in tiny, tiny letters, which is really nice. The painting on this figure is also really great, by the way. It's a much more orangey red than I think you'd expect, but it's much more in keeping with like the actual costume used on the show, which is really great. He also comes with 2 pairs of hands, a pair of sort of like open gesturing hands, which is really great for getting the signature gestures he does, and a pair of fists, which, you know, punching bad guys and monsters. The only thing I might have asked for really is a pair of karate chopping hands, so he could do his the finishing pose when Leopardon uses his sword vigor. It has him with his hands crossed with the palms out, but yeah, in terms of that's the only thing I'm disappointed with this figure's accessories, because like the only other thing he comes with apart from that is a bunch of web effects, but in the show he didn't really use webs the same way Spider-Man did. He'd fire one web from his bracelet and use that to swing on, or fire a net. They didn't look organic, they looked like rope and netting, which I know is more of a budgetary thing with the show, but I don't know, these kind of don't really work. The ones that come with them, should I say, don't really work. I know they painted them white to look like the things on the show, but no. And ideally, I wish he'd have come with an unmasked head. I don't know if it's a licensing thing to get the actor's likeness done, but he seems like such a nice fella. I'm pretty sure he'd want to do it. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's actually voicing the character in the upcoming Spider-Verse movie, so you never know. But yeah, all in all, I really, really do like this figure. I think it works really well with other figures in my collection. I'll stick him here with the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the Gamerverse Miles Morales. As you can see, he's a very different red to that Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. But they all look really good together. I must admit that I'm really liking that. With some other Spider people, the Spider-Man 2099, also going to be in the film, and the Mary Jane Parker as Spinneret. Fantastic. Spider-Ham and Spider-Gwen. Look great with them. And just all in all, he's a fantastic looking figure. Like, you can put him with villains or monsters from your collection and it works being the Toei Spider-Man just fighting monsters sent by the Iron Cross Army. This is a fantastically versatile figure. And he just looks so good with all the other Spider people. Like, I've got a little Spider-Verse collection on the way now, on the go now. And even amongst all these other Spider people, he still stands out as unique and interesting. Well, that's it, folks. Hope you liked the review. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. And hopefully I'll have more reviews in the future. Wait, did I actually give a final opinion on this figure? Yeah, I did. Yeah, if you can get it, go get it. I just highly, highly recommend it. So yeah, folks, until next time, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!